Hi guys, before you get into the next amazing conversation with another amazing guest, I just wanted to tell you I have now moved over to Substack. So it's the Never Settle Podcast.substack.com. The reason I've done that is because of the increase in censorship I am finding on YouTube, and I'm worried that maybe one day they're going to deplatform me. So please head over to Substack and subscribe. I'm very new into it. It's growing. There will be a lot more content on there going forwards and hope to see you over there. Well, hello, lovely listeners, and welcome viewers. Today I have the wonderful Nicola Mayoh, known as Nick. Nick started in 2024 with the Weekend Truth Festival, and some of you watching and listening now will know exactly what that is because it's happening on Bank Holiday this year at the end of August. It was originally yourself and Kev, and you said Kev is from the Buxton Freedom Hub, which was fantastic for a first ever festival because neither of you had ever done one before. This year you're on your own because Kev's too busy. He's got other commitments. But the aim of the festival is to get us all in the solutions mindset. Totally agree with that. Farmers and their plight is one of the main objectives because yeah, I mean, I was at an event yesterday and one of the ladies talking was talking about the thousands upon thousands of acres that have been earmarked for more wind turbines and more solar panels. It's just crazy. Um, and this will be a table of truth this year where farmers and the people can discuss the issues facing both sides. You've got Richard Vobes chairing it with the bowler hat farmer. Clive Edwards, he's a dude. He's my most popular podcast to date.
Wow.
Yeah, seriously, massively popular that one. So, welcome. Thank you so much because I know you've got a lot to organize, but thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. Great to be on.
You're very welcome. So, Nick, I didn't know much about you at all. So I would love to know a bit of your backstory, as I always ask my guests, to understand, when you sort of started to realize that life is not as it seems.
Mm.
Um, and sort of any pivotal moments for you that really sort of shot you into an alternative reality and also getting into the whole festival stuff. I mean, what is your day job and all of that sort of stuff? So go back as far as you want, and I will ask some questions as we go.
Oh, absolutely. Right. Okay. So, um, growing up, I always, and I used to think this was an ego thing, but I always thought like I'm here to do something in my life. I'm not here just to, to be in my bedroom pressing play and record, to listen to all the lyrics and understand what all the lyrics was about on the top 40. I spent a lot of time on my own as a child, and I prefer boys than girls because boys like to go out and get rough and tumbled and all the rest of it. So that was pretty much my life. And then I always felt a bit different. I was always a little bit sort of in my own mind was sort of different to the other kids. And then I just became sort of going to school. I just didn't gel with the education system at all. I was naughty. I was always up to no good. And we were in a group of girls, went to an all girls school, so it was brilliant. And then later on, I think the pivotal moment that you're talking about would be somebody offered me a book, and it was David Icke, just purely by chance. And I'm not going to say I read it all because I actually didn't. There was two books. I can't actually remember which ones they were. And I sort of skim read bits that I thought were interesting. And it made me sort of question what was going on in with politics. Not that I was ever into politics at that point, and I still am not now. And I started to question stuff. And then someone sent me, do you remember VHS?
Oh yeah,
It
of
was a
course.
VHS thing. And it was like, I popped it in, and then this guy narrating it, and he was talking about the dollar bill and about the eye of Horus, is it, and the fact that we're run by the Illuminati and stuff. And I thought, wow, but it kind of came at the same time as David Icke, so I was very aware and quite awake at that point. But then I went back to sleep because nobody was talking about it. And every time I mentioned it to people, they'd say, "Oh, you're crazy. That's ridiculous, whatever." And then I just started to read spiritual books. So That was me until 2019.
So 2019, we all know what's coming next, but what was your day life like? What job did you do if you did a job, or are you still
Yeah.
doing?
So I'm a foster carer.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, lockdown happened. It was particularly difficult, certainly for the children, because that a lot of these children that come, certainly the children that I have in my care are like teenagers that like to answer back, and they're more like 14 than 7 or 1. I did the sort of children that you describe as challenging, should we say?
Yeah.
And you know what? Lockdown came, and you just made what you would of it, given the circumstances. But it was very difficult for the children, and I particularly noticed that because obviously the job that I do. Um, but I remember him coming on the TV and saying about lockdown, and I was screaming at the TV, going, "Oh my God!" Like, I think I've said this before, but I actually thought I'd be dead when it all happened, and I'm not. I'm still here, so. Mm.
And what do you think? I mean, the care system obviously is another contentious subject. It sounds like you've been doing it a long time,
Mm.
and I completely know that, the foster carers that are out there, I would hope it's the majority, are good people like yourself that just want to give a stable environment to some kids, right?
Yeah.
Um, have you been part of that system for a few years? Have you ever felt like there was just weird stuff or any kind of corruption going on, or you felt like some pushback on the social, from the care people, you know what I mean, from the actual government department?
Do you know what? I've been really lucky. My experience of the social care system has been amazing. I mean, I'm with Stockport, and they are particularly good. I can't, don't get me wrong. You're going to be restricted if you can see what I mean. You're going to be restricted in certain type of way because you've got to have certain values, and it's restrictive on your life actually.
Mm,
And I don't think anyone can really sort of ever grasp that until they do it. But
yeah,
I've had nothing but I've got nothing but good things to say about Stockport. So I've been lucky. I know the people that haven't, but I can't speak for them, and I have, I've enjoyed doing my job. But
yeah,
the restriction side of it is, little things really. You can't smoke in your house. Well, I don't want to smoke in my house anyway. I smoke outside, but it's the fact that you're not allowed to, and you
yeah,
know, it's the little things. And I think when you're fostering, I think you've got to learn how to self censor, if you know what I mean. You have got to self censor, and I think that's the same with any children. Though I think you grow up, and your parents are going to tell you a certain type of way, and I guess I had to be careful that not to impress that onto the children, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
So for vaccines, for example, I had 3 children in my care, and none of them had been vaccinated. So and I said to them, if you want me to take you down there, then I can't, tell you what to do. If that's the road that you want to take, then I'll take you. I was never going to try and stop them from doing it because that's not for me to be able to do.
But thank God they did. Yeah,
Yeah, but they're scared of needles,
yeah, yeah,
as most kids are. But I think the social services is very different because you've actually got the children. It's very child led, so the child has more input than in an ordinary family, if you see what I mean, because they know how to play the system.
mm,
So if they say no, I don't want a vaccine, no one's going to try and make them because you're particularly careful about that child's, choices and things that have happened to them. So it's all relevant, really.
interesting.
Yeah. So,
Okay. So you basically then, through the whole last few years,
mhm.
I'm assuming you've probably been down some rabbit holes like we all have.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Yeah. And that must be challenging as well, having to deal with the government organization and you feeling the way you feel and, seeing things the way you see. Because like you say, there is containment, isn't there? There are certain processes and procedures and dictations, I suppose. Um, so yeah, that must be quite challenging. So what got you into all of a sudden thinking, I know, let's do a festival?
Well, I saw this festival advertised in Mexico. It was in Acapulco. So I thought, well, I actually asked Kev. I said, "Oh, should we go to an Acapulco?" This is like way before when we were like turning up at Buxton, every Tuesday to help set up and do whatever. And I said, "Let's go." And he ended up not going. So I thought, I'll go on my own. And then I met a friend. Actually, who's coming to stay tonight. He's a friend from Italy. Sadly, his friend's dying. But um, so yeah, well, I met him there. And I met with other people, and I just remember standing at the front of the stage and just thinking, like, this is what I need to do. I can't even explain it. It was almost like, right, this is what's going to happen. This is what you're going to do, and you're going to do a festival. And then I thought, well, that's a bit tricky because I've actually never done a festival before. So I came back, mentioned it to Kev, and the rest is history. Got Kev involved, and we spent. Do you know what? We spent a year. We must have met up 2 and 3 times a week. I went to 3 festivals in 2023 just to learn how to do it. I've been camping, fortunately, for about 15 years prior to that. So I kind of thought it was camping on a bigger scale. So, yeah, do you know what? The whole point of the festival is the first time we were so focused on getting it right that we weren't really, even though we had our ethos and we knew who we wanted to speak and all that kind of stuff, we never really sort of thought about what our impact should be. Whereas this time, it's solely based on solutions. I mean, yes, some people are coming and telling the story, whatever, but there's not the same amount as last year. And I think this year, I think we're at a pivotal moment now where we've had enough of the bullshit. Like literally, I'm allowed to say that.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, we've had enough of their bullshit, and you know we need to take our power back. And solutions is the only place to stop focusing on the clickbait. You know, somebody else on I think it was Chris on a podcast. He said, it's a shame because people won't click on this because it's not clickbait. And really, I don't think people would ever really understand the amount of work, and I didn't until I did it. And kudos to anyone that does a festival because it's hard work. You've got so many hoops to jump through, the nuts and bolts.
So it didn't put you off last year, though.
No, not at all. I had my moments, Mel. I did have my moments, and it's funny because I spoke to Kev the other day, and he was like, "Oh, I can't imagine the stress you're going through. I'm so relieved I'm not doing it." I was like, "Yeah, whatever." He would have done it if he could, but
Yeah.
he's moved far away, and he's got a job that he just can't get the time off. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's just me. But I have got a friend who is actually a friend of Kev's called Jane, and she's going to help me. So in the last few weeks, I'm going to get a bit of help, so that'd be good.
Oh, okay, cool. And we were just talking off air before I hit record, obviously about the lineup and stuff.
Yeah,
And you mentioned Joy. So, as you know, I'm supporting Joy with some of her media stuff.
yeah,
She literally just lives over there. And uh, yeah, and her plight, which is 20 plus years about the fluoride and just how much you personally are behind that in terms of I mean even though we did talk about the filtering in the whole system and all the rest of it, that's not quite there yet, but you're getting there. But yeah, and you've just got amazing people like Joy, you've got Richard Vobes, you've got Gary Fraun, Clive Edwards, as I said at the beginning, Mark Steele, who actually I've just been sat on his hearing literally this morning. It's an online thing, the tribunal. um, and then you've got Toshi, who I saw yesterday at an event. You've got Victoria, who is literally going to be on a podcast with me this afternoon. Carly, who I met yesterday. The bowler hat farmer. Um, these are people that I know, by the way, so you can fill in the blanks of the people that I haven't mentioned. Oh,
yeah.
the Good Food Project, and Mark Devlin, who I'd like to get on. I know the Daz Band. I've seen them, and you've got Dolores Carhill and Kate. I can never
Rani.
Shemirani. I can never say her name for some reason. But also you've got two more confirmed, haven't you?
Yeah. So we've got Robin Hood and Tess Lorry.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, Robin's been a firm favourite on this podcast as well, but Tess, not yet. Um, so what are you hoping? I know you said it's all about solutions
Mm,
and coming together, and we need to stop this clickbait stuff. And I know exactly what you mean because
mm,
I now, if I look at my Telegram channel, some of the channels are in the hundreds or thousands of unread notifications. And that's a good thing. There is,
yeah.
I still follow the Yorkshire lass. I do like her headlines and how she lays things out, and it's just dead easy just to go, oh, okay, just so I know what's going on.
Yes.
But I'm not like clicking on all the links and going deep into it or anything like that. I just like to know. But yeah, I was as guilty as the next person. You're just looking at absolutely everything, getting yourself overwhelmed, not knowing where to start.
Mm,
Um, but I think there's a massive shift right now. And I've said this a couple of times on previous podcasts where um, the wheat from or the chaff from the wheat has been almost filtered out. Those that pretended to be part of this movement that weren't and were either controlled or a shill or whatever. That seems to have disappeared largely. I'm sure there's still a bit of that knocking around, but it seems to me like good people, especially like Clive Edwards, for example, thought he's an absolute dude. Those are the people that are still standing up, still having a voice, still getting the value out there,
mm,
offering solutions. And it was something that we talked about actually yesterday, because there are so many groups now. Like you've got the Albion, you've got
mm.
CABI, the Community Assemblies of the British Isles, and all of these different networks set up around. We really need everybody to come together, don't we?
Yeah, we absolutely do. And I think, again, it's a mindset because, you know, I think for a long time, I think you go through, it's almost like a phase where you, like you say, you go down all the rabbit holes, you end up in a rabbit warren and you don't know your arm from your elbow. It's literally like that. And a lot like I've got my notes like put out here because I think we've changed now. I think there's a lot of people starting to become who they probably were always going to become. So you're doing your podcast, for example. I'm doing a festival. Clive Edwards is doing his. Robin Hood the same. It's everyone's starting to come to their own. And what I'm feeling, and I could be wrong, but what I'm feeling, it's something that Carly says, is that we need the men to come together, and work as one. Because if we're all in different sections, then how does anything really get solved?
Yeah.
Because we need to probably lose the egotistical side of it. We've all got ego, every single one of us. But I think if we can come together on solutions and start looking at that rather than, I mean, some festivals like they've got loads of like fun stuff going on. We're less like that. It is less like that. But that's just because I just feel like the importance of making sure the right speakers are on. It's speaker heavy. But this year I have definitely focused on the music as well at the night time. But I've kind of digressed really because I just feel like we all need to come together. And I think that is the most important point. Because, divide and conquer.
Yeah, it was said yesterday. So David Edelman was hosting, sort of leading the event yesterday, and he was saying the same thing. We have all got ego, and we know there's been a lot of ego in this space, and
Yeah.
that's why groups have come together and then split because there's been differences of opinions and all of that, and maybe some force shills in there and that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, if we, like you said, if and it is more men, the men that have got more ego. Sorry, guys, but it's true. If if, like you said, more men came together and just rather than everybody sort of shouting over each other and wanting to get their point across, they say the most intelligent person in the room is the one that speaks last because you can hear every single thing that everybody said you can get a feel for it. And then from that place, you can say your piece. And if more guys did that, um, then I think there would be, less testosterone flying around the room and, being able to. And I'm not trying to tar everybody with the same brush. I know not all guys are the same, but that seems to be how it's played out over the last few years. And I think, and this is where I said again, the chaff from the wheat, the people that are still standing, the people that are still raising their head above the parapet,
Yeah,
they are the people that are the genuine, authentic ones. And like yourself, what you're doing, you're leading the way with this festival. And like you
yeah,
said, me with the podcast, and then you've got Clive and you've got Robin and you've got all of these different people. That people that are now just slowly waking up are starting to come over and go, oh shit, I need some information. I need to understand this. And if we can hold our own and be that light,
yeah,
then it can only grow and it can only get better. I think we've got still a bit of a shit show to go through over the
yeah.
over the next few months. But I'm confident that at some point in 2026, we'll really start to see some positive change.
God, I hope so.
I know, God, I hope so.
How many more years we could take of this?
I know. We're all exhausted. And then I'm seeing some BS about another fucking pandemic, whatever, whatever. I just don't think anybody's going to go there. So, so what is your clear mission or vision for this festival? What do you want? With somebody's going to come, people that are watching and have already got their tickets or might be on the fence whether they're coming. What can they expect? What's the feel? What's the vibe?
So the vibe is really, I can only go off last year, and the vibe is really sort of family orientated. It's friendly. There was women that turned up by themselves, and I can think of one in particular. I'm not going to go into the story, but she ended up being the stage manager with Sue because Sue and James came, and it was just so friendly. It was honestly like when I say like for your first festival, it was good. It was better than good for me personally. Um, and this year, what I would say is we've learned everything from last year. So we're bigger, we're better in terms of we've got more of a focus for where we're going. So although it's speaker heavy, which it has to be, because to find solutions, we can't, you know, it can't be a mixture. It has to be one or the other for me personally. And I don't know how you think about that, but I think if you're going to be a speaker-led solutions event, I think that's what it has to be. And people will absolutely. There's some speakers that you just don't want to miss out. And of course, you can go and see some people. Like we were saying before we started, there's people doing day events and blah blah blah. But this is a real community, and
Mm.
this is like something you just don't get from. I mean, don't get me wrong, not knocking day events. I think they're absolutely important. But this is a festival, and yeah, we've got Lucinda Ford and her family, the most good-looking family you've ever seen in your life, and they're all about family connections, about foraging, and it's just yeah. I'm just I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so what are the dates? Remind us of the dates.
yeah. It's the 22nd to the 25th of August, so that's 4 days.
Okay. And is it full on for 4 days, or is it a bit like Glastonbury? You get there on the Wednesday, it's a bit chilled, and then it kicks in.
So most people will arrive on the Thursday, but we're starting sort of 9 o'clock on Friday. And we've been going through the let me see what time. I can't remember what time. Oh yeah, so we're starting at 9, and we've made breaks in between. So we've got 15-minute breaks in between the speakers, but basically that will go on with an hour. You get the speakers finishing around 6 o'clock, and then you've got music. We have got Chico from It's Chico time.
I
Uh,
thought I was like, oh my God, Chico, right? So is he a truther?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, he is, and he does Who Breath, which is amazing. He does his own workshops, in I think it was the Algarve, somewhere in Portugal. Anyway, I've seen his stuff, and he's coming, but he's also done some freedom songs, which are actually pretty good. So he's coming singing, but we've also got Yogi G and the Family Tree. and that's like I think Roetta's on the backing vocals. I think she's from that era. What Chico was from, and yeah, the guy from Happy Mondays, Gaz Whelan, him and his friends have got a group together, which is Yogi G and the Family Tree. Brilliant.
Ah, okay.
Like you say, we've got DJs on, and it's just going to be non-stop something to do
And
before.
is Mark Devlin DJing or talking or both?
No, he's DJing
He's DJing.
on the Sunday.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. And the Good Food Project, are they doing like practical stuff, are they?
Yes, they're going to be talking, and they're going to have a stall as well, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's the camping situation? Is there places for little caravans as well as tents and stuff?
yeah. There's loads of room. There's bags of room.
Is there electric hookups or
There's no electric hookups, but we have said that we'll provide it. So, for example, somebody needed some kind of equipment because they're disabled, so we would have connected them up for that. So we can run it to somebody
yeah.
that needs it. So
Okay.
that's the ethos behind that. No, we don't really want to exclude anybody.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And just remind us where it is based.
Yeah, it's in Cumbria. It's in Western Lakes, Pica, and it's what three words? It's thinker.sketching.pinks.
Okay.
That takes you to the gate.
Cool. Is that where when as soon as you said Pika, I'm like, is that where Carry On Camping has been hosted before?
Yes, that's where Carry On Camping started.
Right, so I've been there. So in 2022,
Hmm.
was it? It was 21 or 22, I can't remember now. But me and my then partner, we actually played at Carry On Camping because I'm a singer and my ex-partner is a guitarist. So yeah, so we actually headlined on the Saturday night.
Wow.
It should have been the Daz band, but he'd been gigging all week,
Mm.
so we got swapped around. So yeah, it was a lot of fun actually. It was a lot of fun, but I've keep thinking to myself because I've started to write some songs around this kind of thing. I think, but I'm okay on the guitar, but nowhere near confident just to rock up and do it by myself at the moment. But
Yeah,
anyway, maybe next year.
maybe. Who
Maybe
knows?
next year, Nick. Um,
Food festival, no problem.
yeah, so okay, so I know that campfire. And how much is it if people want to get their tickets and how do they get their tickets? What's the drill?
Yeah, you can just go on www.weekendtruthfestival.co.uk and the tickets are 99, unless you want to do VIP, which is 159. I have had a bit of stick about the VIP, which I totally understand. But it's just if I did all the price, I've kept it as low as possible. So I've had it at 79 for months, and that's 4 days of speakers. It's
Yeah.
it's not about this festival does not make any money. I can assure you 100%. So it's about providing, getting us all together and doing whatever, and that 159 just helps towards costs.
What do people get for the VIP?
So they get closer to the front,
Yeah.
which will be cordoned off this year, and they got their own sort of camping area.
Okay.
They
So
don't have more, but it helps towards the setup costs and all the rest of it. So
yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
cool. And is there anything else, Nick, that we haven't spoken about that you'd like to?
Yeah, so when you went to Pika last time,
Yeah.
I think there might have been some toilets, I don't know, but now he's got a setup. So along one side, there's 8 toilets and 8 showers that are actually on site. So it's all very civilized.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I remember the loos. We only went for I think we camped 2 nights.
Yeah,
Um, did we shower? Must have done. I don't know. I can't remember now. It was a few years ago, but so yeah, all very civilized. Yeah, because you do need a shower if you've been there for 4 days, don't you?
yeah, of course you do. After 4 days, absolutely. It all depends. I mean, in May when we did it last time, it just, the heavens opened and they stayed open. this time I've hoped that I've moved it to a time when it may not rain, and if it does, it'll still be warm.
Well, we've had a great summer, so fingers crossed
There we are.
it continues to the end of August. Um,
Yeah,
I'm sure it will because the sun shines on the righteous. Is that not correct?
yeah, absolutely.
All right, Nick. Well, it's been a pleasure to meet you, and I'm wishing you all the best on the run up to this. And as you know, I'm hoping to be there for a couple of nights myself.
Awesome.
And yeah, yeah, no, we've done the website. Is there anything you'd like to finish up with? Any pearls of wisdom before we close?
Oh,
I know I've put you on the spot.
oh, let me think.
You don't have
No,
to.
I can't. I mean, I think we need to support festivals and we need to support people. And this is the opportunity to do it. Really, we all need to be in one place and know each other.
Yeah.
Really. I've met some wonderful friends from last year, and they stay in touch. It's and then actually this year, if people had a problem and stuff, I'm like, right, well, come and find me. I'm sure I'll be running around like a headless chicken, but come and find me and we'll say hello. Because it's surprising how many people get in touch and they might have this problem or that problem or whatever, and I just do my best to be able to solve it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be amazing. Can't wait.
Absolutely. I think the getting together, the community building, the energetic exchange that people have, the energy exchange when you're actually in person. I mean, obviously we know you don't have to be in person to be in the field and have that energy and all the rest of it.
Mm,
However, we do know that in person, it's like yesterday when I was at that event down in Weston-super-Mare for the Realm of England. You're in the room with people, some of which you know, some of which you don't, but you're having conversations. And on Saturday, I had a load of people that some I'd met in person, some I hadn't, which is to do with another organization. They were experiencing the healing pod, and I did a bit of a Barbie. But when you actually get together and are talking face to face, and like I said, energy exchange, it's
yeah,
a whole different ball game, isn't it? And
completely.
that's where we get to build these communities stronger.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Really, I couldn't. It's having that face to face contact and that you can see the energy, you can feel it when you're there. We could last year, and I just think this year will
Be even bigger.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I do.
Well, once again, I wish you all the best with it. And thank you for giving me some time today. And I'll probably see you in a few weeks.
You will indeed. Hopefully. Thanks
Take
very
care.
much for having me.